Good morning. It's about 4:30 in the morning, so I thought I would do a quick little read from this book before I have to start getting ready to go out. This is just my draft copy, so not for resale, it's just my draft copy. Your copy will obviously not say that if you do buy this book. It's the hardcover version. I believe there is also a paperback version, and it's on Kindle for those of you who prefer Kindle. And this is my copy. And it says La Maison Bleue is the personal account of the year the author spent trying to buy a house in Normandy, France. She fell in love with Normandy after her visits to Deauville and Trouville, Honfleur, and Le Havre. Not too far from Deauville, she finds an old house in a little medieval village called Orbec. It is a delightful little number with French tiles and fireplaces and winding staircases. The price is right for her modest budget, but there is a labyrinth of obstacles that include banks, real estate agents, and sellers. With very little French language skills and knowing nothing about real estate law in France, she has to understand terms like achat. I don't even know how to say that word. Usury, moisissure, travaux, volet, and compromis, courtier, merle, etc. Is it a good idea to buy this house, as charming as it is? You'll have to read the book to find out. So this one is called La Maison Bleue. My phone is not focusing today. So I have dedicated this one to the Great Mountain. I think maybe I would be better, or it would be better. Not I would be better. It's 4:30 in the morning. It would be better if I began at the beginning with this one and read you maybe a page or two of chapter 1, depending on how long the video gets. So let's see. Chapter 1 of La Maison Bleue. December 21st, 2020. It was a few days before my birthday, which, luckily for me, happens to be a few days before Christmas. I was feeling restless and cooped up due to the involuntary incarceration brought on by the coronavirus pandemic. The Macron government in France had imposed a whole lot of restrictions on the distance we could travel to curb the propagating and deadly virus. People could not go more than 30 kilometers or something like that from where they lived without authorization. I had heard that a lot of people were cheating by taking off to their secondary homes in the middle of the night, despite the orders from the Élysée. Some went to the north and others went to the east. Some went to the west and others went to the south. One of my students had taken a sabbatical from his job for 3 months and had gone off to his parents' home in Biarritz. Most of my classes were being conducted by Zoom, and with so few opportunities to leave my flat, I had begun to experience acute spring fever in December. It was like I was on the verge of losing my mind. I mused that I could take my chances and say, take Flixbus to Nice. How funny is that? I knew that I risked undesirable encounters with the police and gendarmerie by going that far. A lot of people had received verbalizations to the tune of 135 euros a pop for violating the distance confinement, and others, repeat offenders, had been thrown in jail. I was not a bold one who wanted to brave those types of encounters, nor was I into taking stupid risks that could cause me to lose my visa. Nor did I have the financial means to pay 135 euros to one of the richest governments in the world for behaviors that I could easily avoid when I barely had enough money to eat. Now, forget Nice. I would have to go someplace else. But where? The furthest I could, the furthest I figured I could go without risking a fine or worse was Normandy. I love Normandy. I had visited Le Havre a couple of months before the pandemic hit, and I had been thinking that it was a part of the country I could totally relocate to, given the right opportunity. I had also visited Rouen, Amiens, technically not in Normandy, but close by, Honfleur, Trouville, and Deauville in the last 12 months. But there were many coastal Normandy towns I still wanted to check out, like Caen, Dieppe, Camembert, Etretat, Cabourg, Saint-Vaast-la-Hougue, Saint-Vaast-la-Hougue, I don't know how to say that, Bayeux, Omaha Beach, and Ypres. Most of these towns were about 2 hours from Paris by SNCF trains. I just needed to roll the dice and pick one. It sounded like a plan. But then again, it seemed like a waste of precious time to ride all the way to Normandy for no apparent reason other than to see what was there. Was there anything I could do in Normandy once I was actually stateside that was actually constructive and productive? I was not a spring chicken with a lot of time to waste, and the one lesson I had learned from the whole pandemic cauchemar is that life is short and totally unpredictable, and you better seize the day. You better make everything count. You better do everything you can. So what did that mean? It meant that I had to make my little excursion to Normandy as productive a trip as possible. Surely I could do more than go look at boats in Ypres. What could I do in any of these little towns in the dead of winter that was productive and entertaining at the same time? Look at Christmas lights? Maybe. Maybe I could check out the Christmas lights on all the chateaux and farmhouses and get inspiration for my flat. Actually, maybe I could do better. I had been secretly in the market for a little old French country house. Had been for years. Why not go check out real estate? I mean, I was poor and had no money, and real estate agents famously scorned me. But what did that matter? I could dream. I had a small cache of cash on the bank. It was enough to pay 10% on something under 100K. Maybe the time had come to take a fresh look at what was out there. I decided to do a web search for houses up in Normandy. I executed a search for a little Normandy stone house, Petit Prix. Would it be in Haut Normandy or Basse Normandy? I didn't really care, so long as it was Normandy, and so long as it had tiles on the floor, and so long as it had a fireplace that worked, it was good enough for me. My filtered search yielded a darling little house in a small medieval Basse Normandy village called Orbec. The village looked adorable in pictures, and the house, the interior of it, there were no exterior shots online, looked like it had potential. And you couldn't beat the price. They were asking for 69,000 euros for a 4-bedroom house. What? This is the exterior shot I took of the house.